Wrong Turn 3, Left for Dead is another sequel to the original Wrong Turn. It is directed by Declan O'Brien, and the story follows a bus full of prison inmates who are being transported from one prison to another, getting run off the road by everyone's favourite inbred Three Fingers from the first two movies. And yeah, then have to survive the rest of the movie being picked off one by one by Three Fingers, as well as kind of fighting amongst themselves, given that, you know, they have rivalries, certain rivalries, prison rivalries. You've got, you know, the Mexicans and the skinhead Nazi types, and obviously that creates conflict. You've got some prisoners who are like, are they really guilty, or are they innocent men who've been imprisoned? And so obviously that creates a lot of character interactions to keep the movie kind of ticking over in between all the gore and the action and whatnot. Question is it any good? It's not terrible. I thought it would be much, much worse given the reputation of some of these sequels. But I do have to say it does have some plus points. It's also worth bearing in mind, it's worth saying right up front that this film was shot in 24 days. Now, to shoot a feature film, as someone who's worked on feature films, as you know, as low budget stuff, and has even done extra work on big feature films where we spent 5 days shooting one scene that lasted literally like 2.5 minutes in the whole film. I can say with absolute certainty that, yeah, 24 days to shoot a feature film is it's pretty impressive, especially given how much action there is in this one. You know, there's buses being overturned, there's cars blowing up, and there's fight sequences. Those things are harder to shoot, say, than few people sat in a room talking. When I look at this and I'm reviewing this, I'm thinking, actually, you know what? They pulled off quite a lot. Director O'Brien does a pretty good job given the material he's got, and particularly given the time scale he was given in which to shoot it. There's more kind of character arc and character development here than you might find in other, say, straight-to-DVD slashers. Most of the cast in this film is British, and it certainly wasn't shot in West Virginia. It was shot somewhere in Europe. I think sometimes that shows, particularly on the cast side of things, that some of them really struggle to hide their British accents. Some just don't even try to hide their British accent. A lot of the action is pretty well handled. Some of the fight scenes stuff is highly entertaining. Sometimes for the wrong reasons, it's quite amusing. There's a lot of stuff in this film that's quite amusing. It's over the top, you know, as with the second film, this one's over the top. I don't think the gore stuff is handled quite as well in this one. They rely a little bit too much on CGI to kind of fill in the blood stuff. But, you know, it's still gnarly. It still kind of makes you go, ugh. There's certain moments in it where I'm just like, that's gratuitous in the wrong way. It's, you know, like the film starts with these four people, these campers out in the woods, and one of them just takes her top off, just literally to show her breasts, and you're just like, yeah, this scene literally didn't need that. A scene like that just cheapens it, just makes it feel like, okay, you're really trying to go for the lowest common denominator, you're really aiming low. But the film does pick up after that, as I say. Once we get to the prison people and they're kind of where they're at and what happens with them, it becomes a bit more interesting. The film also goes to some lengths of at least trying to be about something, trying to make a point. There's a nice theme that runs throughout about, you know, choosing survival over cash. You know, the group, when they're out in the forest, they come across this truck, this cash truck that's clearly been done over in the same way they were done over at the start. And you know, there's this big debate as to, well, do we take the cash or not? And obviously the more criminal element wants to. And one particular character is like, actually right now I couldn't care less about the cash. I just want to get home. I just want to be safe. it plays with that throughout. There are characters in here that just don't need to be in here. There is a kind of second ending tacked on, kind of a third ending really, if you think about like almost like a mid-credit sequence or whatever. Yeah, it's too many endings. There's a point in the film where it ends, and you're like, yeah, that's where you end it. That's the logical ending. Drive off into the night, boom, film's ending. But then no. We get another attack from Three Fingers, who at this point has gone through so much, one particular thing that happens to him, that there's no way he's surviving. And if he did survive, there's certainly no way he's going to run from where he was and catch up with the car that these people are driving away in. Like logistically, geographically, it just makes zero sense. This is an 88-minute film, should have been 70 minutes. You could get rid of that silly ending that was tacked on completely, and you could also get rid of a particular character, a deputy sheriff, this woman who kind of has a bit of a friendship relationship with the sheriff, but the whole time you're expecting that she's going to come into play in a big way, where she'll either do something heroic or, you know, she'll do something integral to the story. She doesn't. She gets killed, and she gets killed off screen. We don't even see it. She just pops up at the end and, oh yeah, she's been killed. And you're just like, what actually was the point of her scenes? It's not a great movie. I'm not even sure I could go so far as to call it a good movie. A lot of the dialogue is pretty rough around the edges as well. But as I say, factor in that 24-day shoot and the fact that it does offer some entertainment, and there is some effort paid to, you know, creating characters with arcs and whatnot, and it's okay. It's watchable. It's right down the middle. It's not offensively bad, but it's not necessarily good either. Wrong Turn 3, Left for Dead. That's my thoughts on it. What about you? Have you seen it? If so, what did you think about it? Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching this review, and until next time, cracking.